just bad luck? Is something you need to look into on structurally, like how did this happen? How do you view that as a leader in this franchise?
Yeah, I think it's bad luck.
One player, one shocking coaching decision, and an entire league left speechless. That's the story unfolding inside the Indiana Fever right now, and nobody saw it coming this fast. When one athlete carries an entire sports spotlight, the normal rules disappear. Every game turns into a must-win. Every mistake gets magnified. That's exactly what happened to the Indiana Fever. They thought they were building something slow and steady. Then Caitlin Clark walked onto the court, and suddenly, everything sped up. Every possession, every loss, every coaching call was placed under a microscope the size of the entire sports world. No excuses were accepted anymore. So when word broke that the Fever front office made a stunning decision about head coach Stephanie White, right after a brutal loss to the Las Vegas Aces, the basketball world lost its mind. Fans wanted answers. Reporters scrambled for details. And right in the center of the storm stood Caitlin Clark, just as shocked as everyone else by how quickly things fell apart behind the scenes. To understand how a team goes from rising contender to full-blown crisis overnight, you need to look at how much pressure landed on Indiana in such a short time. Before their superstar arrived, this franchise operated quietly. Low expectations, room to make mistakes. Nobody was watching too closely. Then everything changed. Almost instantly, their home arena became one of the hottest tickets in all of sports. Sellouts everywhere. Attendance records falling. TV ratings through the roof. Every broadcast got picked apart second by second. This wasn't a small market franchise anymore. It was a business worth millions, and every loss on national television now came with real consequences. There was no more room for error. Management understood one hard truth. When you have a generational talent on your roster, the window to win opens immediately, whether your coaching staff is ready or not. But that's only half the story. The real breaking point didn't happen quietly in some back office. It happened live, on the court, in a brutal matchup against the defending powerhouse, the Las Vegas Aces. Facing a battle-tested championship team led by Aya Wilson, coached by Becky Hammon, was always going to be a tough test. But what should have been a measuring stick game turned into a nightmare for Indiana. From the opening minutes, the Aces tore through their defense. Players looked lost on switches. Rotations were late. Meanwhile, on offense, Las Vegas sent aggressive double teams straight at Clark, daring everyone else to step up under pressure. The bench response was slow. Adjustments came too late. Frustration boiled over in real time. Cameras caught Clark glancing back at her coach, visibly confused by the play calls, her body language screaming that something in this game plan wasn't working. Losing to a championship-level opponent is one thing. Getting completely outcoached on a national stage is another. And that sent alarm bells straight to the top of the organization. When the final buzzer sounded and the Aces walked off with an easy win, the mood inside the Fever's front office turned ice cold. Executives stood in silence, watching their team walk off with their heads down. In high-level sports, how you lose matters just as much as the loss itself. And this loss made it look like the coaching staff had hit a wall they couldn't get past. Behind closed doors, emergency conversations started that same night. Executives debated whether their coaching system had what it takes for playoff-level pressure, or whether it was actually holding their star-studded roster back. And fast, a consensus started forming. Staying patient might be the riskier move. What happened next sent shockwaves through the entire league. This tension between the front office and coach Stephanie White didn't appear out of nowhere. It had been building quietly for weeks. When White was hired, her coaching resume and history with the franchise made her look like the safe, experienced choice. But behind the scenes, a real conflict was growing. White's system leaned on structured half-court sets, disciplined defense, and methodical execution. Clark's game is the opposite. Fast breaks, quick decisions, creative freedom. Try to fit an explosive, instinctive player into a rigid system, and you end up shutting down exactly what makes her dangerous. Players were stuck between following strict instructions and trusting their instincts, and that hesitation showed up as turnovers, awkward spacing, and missed opportunities in big moments. When a coaching philosophy clashes directly with a franchise superstar's natural game, the choice becomes obvious. In today's sports world, you don't reshape the star to fit the system. You reshape the system to fit the star. Insiders say the general manager felt White was too rigid, unwilling to open up the offense to fully use Clark's vision and shooting range. The Aces' loss simply exposed that flaw for millions of viewers to see, and management knew that waiting any longer risked wasting a critical year of their team's prime. But while the front office moved fast, the reaction inside the locker room was far messier. When news of the front office's plans reached the players, Clark was reportedly stunned. Sure, she'd shown frustration during rough stretches on the floor, but she never expected management to move this quickly or this ruthlessly. Suddenly, she found herself in an uncomfortable spotlight, with fans and media questioning how much say she actually had in the decision. Being the face of a league is already a heavy weight. Being seen as the reason behind a major front office shakeup is an entirely different level of pressure. Every interview, every post-game quote, even her social media activity was picked apart for hidden meaning. Inside the locker room, tension quietly built. Veteran players who had strong relationships with the coaching staff were reportedly caught off guard by how fast loyalty shifted. Some felt that removing a coach after one bad loss against an elite team showed panic, not patience. Meanwhile, younger players who felt boxed in by the system quietly welcomed the idea of a fresh approach that could unlock more speed and freedom on offense. That divide created an uneasy environment, one where trust needed to be rebuilt on the fly, all while the entire league watched. And it wasn't just Indiana paying attention. Every rival franchise in the WNBA was watching this unfold closely. Front offices know that internal chaos is often the easiest crack to exploit in a rising contender. Executives around the league started wondering if this instability could open the door for them, whether through the trade market or shifting team dynamics. In pro sports, when a top team shows weakness, everyone else circles. Indiana knew that one wrong move now could unravel everything they'd built since draft night. This whole situation reflects a bigger shift happening across women's basketball. Years ago, teams had 3 or 4 seasons to develop naturally, learning from tough losses, building chemistry slowly. That patience simply doesn't exist anymore. With massive TV deals, instant social media reaction, and sponsors demanding results, coaches don't get years to figure things out. If wins don't come immediately, the pressure to make a change becomes overwhelming. Indiana just became the newest, biggest example of how fast that pressure can boil over. As this story dominated headlines, analysts everywhere started debating who could possibly step into such a high-pressure, high-visibility coaching role. Because let's be honest, coaching the Fever right now isn't a normal job. It's one of the toughest seats in all of sports. Whoever takes it needs elite tactical knowledge, the charisma to handle non-stop media attention, the flexibility to build around Clark's fast-paced instincts, and the emotional intelligence to manage a locker room still healing from a sudden shakeup. Finding someone who checks every one of those boxes, mid-season, is close to impossible. That loss to Las Vegas exposed a harsh truth. There's a massive difference between a polished championship team and a talented group still trying to find its identity. The Aces have had years to build chemistry between their coaching staff and their stars. Everyone knows their role under pressure. Indiana tried to build that same culture overnight, relying purely on individual talent to paper over deeper structural cracks. And against elite competition, talent alone is never enough. For Clark personally, this moment marks a turning point in her young career. She's learning, in real time, that being the face of a league comes with harsh realities. Sometimes personal relationships get sacrificed for results. Moving forward, her challenge isn't just hitting deep threes or delivering highlight passes. It's stepping up as a vocal leader who can hold a shaken locker room together through sheer willpower. Great players are remembered for how they handle winning seasons. Legends are remembered for how they handle chaos. How Clark responds to this front office drama could shape the rest of her season, and maybe her entire career in Indiana. As the dust settles, the Fever now stand at a dangerous crossroads. Making a bold coaching change shows commitment to building a title-ready team around their superstar without wasting time. But it's also a massive gamble. If the new system doesn't click right away, this could backfire in a big way. And every eye in the league will be locked onto their next few games, searching for signs of progress or signs of deeper problems. Strip away all the rumors and hot takes, and the real lesson here is simple. The Fever wanted the fame, the sold-out crowds, the national spotlight that comes with drafting a generational star. But that fame comes with an unforgiving price. Second place feels like failure, and patience is basically gone. Management just proved they're willing to blow up their own structure rather than accept anything less than excellence on national TV. Whether this move eventually leads to a championship or becomes a cautionary tale, only time will tell. But one thing is certain, in this new era of sports, loyalty is short, expectations are sky-high, and nobody is safe when results don't match the hype. Looking closer at that Aces game, it's easy to see why the front office couldn't sit still any longer. It wasn't just the final score, it was how they lost. Las Vegas ran the same simple pick and roll over and over, exposing the same defensive gaps for 40 straight minutes, and Indiana never adjusted. When a defense gets exploited by the exact same play, again and again, without any counter, it tells ownership one thing loud and clear: the coaching staff is out of answers. And if Las Vegas could expose them that easily, every other elite team in the league would run the same blueprint next. The numbers backed it up too. When Clark was allowed to push the pace off steals and rebounds, Indiana's offense was one of the best in the league. But the moment the game slowed down into rigid half-court sets, their efficiency dropped straight to the bottom. The data made it obvious. Forcing structure onto this roster was working against them, not for them. For a front office that trusts analytics, watching their coach repeatedly choose the losing style of play over the winning one was the final straw. This entire situation is a wake-up call for every franchise in modern basketball. The days of hiding behind, "we're still developing," are over. In a league driven by social media, big broadcast deals, and non-stop fan attention, accountability is instant. Indiana just took a massive public gamble, betting that change now unlocks their real potential. Whether this sparks a championship run or creates more instability, nobody knows yet. But one thing won't change. Expectations in Indiana just got permanently higher. There's no going back now. Former players and analysts are still debating what this level of instability means for a young superstar's development. Rapid coaching changes early in a career can disrupt the habits needed to build real consistency. Championship systems are built on repetition and trust between players and the bench. Break that trust too soon, and players start hesitating in the biggest moments, unsure what's actually expected of them. Whoever the Fever hire next has to rebuild that trust fast, while still keeping the fast-paced style fans love watching. And through all of this, the speed at which this story spread across social media shows just how intense the spotlight around Clark really is. Every move by the front office gets zoomed in on, dissected, and turned into debate within minutes. That kind of pressure adds a mental weight most young athletes never have to deal with this early. How well Clark blocks out the noise and stays locked in on basketball will decide whether this team survives the storm or breaks apart. As Indiana prepares for their next game, the energy inside that arena will be electric. Every fan will be watching sideline reactions, play calls, body language, anything that hints at how the team is handling this shakeup. A strong, dominant performance could silence every doubter and prove the front office made the right call. But another sluggish outing that would only raise bigger questions about whether the problems go deeper than just coaching. At the end of the day, this whole saga is a brutal reminder of what comes with fast fame and generational talent. The Fever invited the world's attention the moment they drafted a player who reshaped women's basketball forever. But with that spotlight comes a brutal truth. In this league, right now, failure simply isn't an option. So here's the real question. Was firing the coach the right call, or did Indiana just panic under pressure? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want to see how this coaching drama plays out, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story is far from over.